On Tuesday, November 25th, OTN alumni Sam Metz came back into the OTN studio to share her story.
So, OTN alumni, where are they now? Right now we have Sam Metz. Her brother Luke is one of your classmates. Sam sat in your seat. Sam was in the intro class. She did everything that you did. She became one of our best editors very quickly. And then she went on to follow her dream, and now she's doing it. She is a senior, I believe, yes? Wow, it's crazy. She's a senior at Penn State, and she's going to tell you a little bit about what her path was and how she got to what she's doing. If you have questions at the end, obviously, raise your hand, say it nice and loud, and Sam Metz.
Hello. So as Mel said, I'm a senior at Penn State. I spent all 4 years at main campus. I'm a PR major, so public relations. I kind of handle stuff with like advertising, a little bit of marketing, stuff like that. But I've always been really passionate about what we do in OTN and like all the communication stuff, so I still get to do that fun stuff at Penn State. I know for like my sorority, I did the recruitment video during one of the recruitment rounds during like recruitment, obviously. So I was able to still use Final Cut. I still use Final Cut. I probably used it at least like once or twice a semester, which is really fun because it's not part of my major technically. Like I'm not a broadcast major, nothing like that, but I still get to use the stuff that I learned in OTN and can bring it to the table at school. So it's really fun. I am kind of an intern slash I'm like completely hired by Penn State Athletics. I am an athletic communications assistant, and then I'm also the Penn State Fencing Sports Information Director. Fencing is like the craziest sport. I didn't know anything about it before going there. What is fencing? So I had to teach myself everything, which was kind of hard because the sport is very intricate. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of weird things about the sport that you wouldn't obviously know unless you like participated in it. So for that, I handle all the social media accounts. I handle posting on GoPSU Sports, the like Penn State Athletics website, press releases, anything that's happening with the team, photo galleries, all that type of stuff I put up on the website for them, so that's really fun. And then besides my work with like the fencing team, I work with all the other collegiate teams at Penn State. So like for football, every Tuesday I would work the press conference for James Franklin, if you know, the head coach at Penn State. He would have a press conference leading up, recapping the game from last Saturday, and then for the game coming up on the following Saturday. And it was really fun. It was a lot of work too, because transcribing really is really hard. You have to play back all what they say and like type everything out word for word. It can't be messed up because once that gets messed up, then it's not true. So that's kind of what I do at Penn State. Other than that, in the spring, I got an offer to work the NBA All-Star Game. So that'll be pretty sweet. I'm really excited for that week in New York. For me, I personally don't really, although like a lot of my experience is in sports, I'd rather go into the music industry. So for me, obviously I learned in OTN that networking is key. So for me to do this NBA All-Star game, it's in New York City and it's between the Barclays Center and Madison Square Garden, which are two of the biggest venues pretty much in the country. So for me, it's more of a networking to like get to know people from MSG or Barclays Center and kind of just get to know them and see what they're all about. So I definitely learned that in my intro class for sure, is like networking. And that's kind of how I got all my opportunities in a sense. While I was at Penn State, like I found out about my job with Penn State Athletics through other people. I got offered to work the NBA All-Star Game. It's through Adidas, so like technically I'll be hired by Adidas for that week in New York. And my friend had interned at Adidas last summer, so she was like, you would be awesome at this, like let's do it together. So we get to go to New York together, so that's pretty sweet. So that's what I got going on.
Awesome. Questions?
What's up?
Do you find it hard balancing your schoolwork and also your like internship? Do they like help you if you write your schedule and stuff like that?
Yeah, time management for me is like, I gotta stick to it. I have a agenda that I basically live by, and And for me, like, I need to write it down to like physically get stuff done. And with my internship, it's like I can't do the other stuff until I get my work done. It's not like I can go work my internship and then not turn my stuff in, because I'm a student first. So they understand that, which is nice, because I do work within Penn State, that they get it, like, I'm a student, like, I have to get my work done. But it definitely gets challenging, because like sometimes obviously the internship is more fun, like working a football game versus doing a 5-page paper. Like, that doesn't sound like fun compared to what I get to do with my internships. But I wouldn't have that opportunity had I not been a student to begin with. So time managing that is definitely hard, but it is manageable. And especially like when you're on your own, you kind of have to take responsibility for the things that you do, and you kind of have to time manage it and be like, I'm gonna get this done.
How did you decide what you wanted to be?
In high school, obviously, I was very torn between going into like broadcast versus public relations. I kind of always really liked what I did in OTN. It came easy to me. It kind of came natural to me. But I went with PR and marketing more so because it's what I wanted to do after college, and wanted to go more so into the music industry, like I said. And it's like that's like something that has always been a part of me. I've always gone to concerts, I've always supported local artists and stuff like that. So I think for me, I decided to go that route just because I knew, because of how passionate I was just about like kids in my area, that like I want to make that like my passion throughout like any artist that I work with, any venue that I work with, anything like that. So I think for me, when I sat down and saw like what made more sense for me to do, I went with that. But in the same sense, like I can still use Final Cut, I can still use like all the stuff that I learned in OTN with my PR major, with like advertising and marketing and stuff like that. And even like on the side with like music and stuff, I help, my friends are in a band, the Weekend Riot, and I film they do like Riot Monday videos every Monday. And so like they still have me film them, I still edit them. So it's like, it's cool because I still get to do that part of stuff, like that part of like OTN and that part of what I learned in high school in the real world, which is like really awesome. What's that?
What was your hardest year of college so far?
I think my freshman year, first semester, for sure. It was definitely a reality check, especially for me. Like, it was my first time like living away at college. Like, didn't really know what to expect. Like, Bensalem is a completely different world compared to any other part or any other school in the country. Like, it's unreal here. And so when I got to Penn State, it was just a reality check, kind of like, okay, not everyone's like Bensalem. Like, I gotta get my like stuff together like ASAP in order to get stuff done. And I know for sure I had like a reality check when I didn't get the grade that I wanted to in one class, and it was just like I wasn't used to that. Like, I was always like, oh, like I'm fine, like I don't have to study, like I can just like make it work, I can do it, like blah blah. But like, no, like I really got my butt kicked freshman year. But ever since then, it was kind of like, okay, I had that one slip up, and then since then it's kind of like, okay, like I can do this as long as I push myself. So.
Did you always want to go to the main campus, or did you ever think about going to Penn State Everton?
Yeah, I absolutely love Penn State. Penn State has been like the best 4 years that I could have ever asked for in college. I think if the opportunity had come where I was only offered Abington, I totally would have taken it up, because even the sense of like going to Bucks for 2 years or staying at home for 2 years, like that is so smart. Like, I hate when people like tear that down, because it's like, you're saving so much money, like you're still getting the same quality education that you would anywhere else. And I think for me, when I was offered main campus, for me, it was just like, that was like the dream. That was like, I need to go there, that's where I need to be. But had anything been different, I would have been just as happy going to Abington. I would have been just as happy going to the other schools I got into. Just because no matter where you go, like you're gonna find your niche. It might take you a couple years, it might take you like a couple semesters, it all depends really. But I was just lucky enough to like find my place at Penn State and was able to go there all 4 years. Like, that was literally just a blessing. Yeah.
What exactly do you plan on doing like after you graduate?
Okay, so like I said, public relations and marketing and advertising kind of all overlap. Technically, my degree when I graduate, which is like really weird to say, will say public relations / advertising. So I kind of have both in the sense, and I took classes in both. I also took marketing classes, but that doesn't really matter to mine. But I specifically want to go in the music industry, whether or not I work with an artist specifically, or if I work like with a venue. I'm really passionate just about like live music in general. I think the entire thing is like so awesome. I love every aspect of it, and I think anything within that realm I would be happy in. I want to go more towards like maybe like a marketing assistant when I get like out of college, just to like start with something. And like work my way up, because the music industry is just as hard to get into as like broadcast is, or just as hard as like sports is. It's just whatever comes my way, but I'd be happy in either.
So you talk about marketing and social media. And one thing I think you guys need to realize is that those of you that are good on social media, that's huge. And it was almost like when I started in high school, I remember we were doing a research paper, and the teacher was like, well, you know, don't really go using the internet because you never know what you're getting from that internet, because it was new. And a lot of people today are like, oh, you know, be careful with Facebook and Twitter and social media, you know, it's all just silly. And to a certain extent, they're correct. You need to be way careful, because what you're dealing with today, you say one stupid thing and the world knows it. You put up one stupid picture and the world sees it. However, as terrible as social media can be, it's that wonderful. And from a marketing perspective, I can tell you, like, we just started up our Facebook ads again. We do Google ads. Like, we spend a lot of money on marketing and social media because that's our #1 audience. That's where people are seeing things. So if you see like a flop commercial or a Celtic Christmas pop up on Facebook, pop up on when you're on a website, that's all social media. It's all marketing. It's all the stuff that you're doing now. It's the stuff you guys are doing. Most of our ticket sales are generated through social media. So those of you that are like, man, I wish I could have a job doing that, you can. There's literally social media directors in marketing, which is what Sam's getting ready to do. One huge part of that is managing social media. Managing it so it works for you and not against you. So those of you that are like, hey, wish I could make a job out of that, realistically you can. And realistically, you know more about it than any of us do. I have a friend who is one of the #1 insurance, he is the #1 insurance agent in Pennsylvania. I won't say what company, but it's a big company. And he pays somebody $2,000 a month to manage his social media. And he also does his website and his Twitter, and he does all that stuff. And he's an older guy. He's in his 50s. He's like, I don't know anything about that stuff. I tell him what I want to put out there, and I see him all over Facebook. His ads are everywhere. And it's worth him paying $24,000 a year because it generates over $100,000 in business. So you can absolutely use social media to your advantage and use it as a marketing tool. That's why I use Facebook. I use Facebook as a marketing tool. So something that might just seem like a hobby or something you do as a kid, something you can actually make a career out of. And a lot of where the world is, that's where it is. So, Sam, if you could leave them with one piece of advice, most of your seniors and juniors, they're all seniors or juniors here, and they're getting ready to go out, some in this field, some in other fields. You graduated from here. You are now graduating from Penn State, which is that's a huge accomplishment in itself. Even to be accepted to Penn State main campus is a huge accomplishment. Give these guys that one last piece of advice.
I think the #1 thing I can tell you guys is don't let anyone push you down. Just because I know a lot of people always trash on Ben Salem. They're like, Ben Salem, blah blah. But the one thing that you can do is prove them wrong. I did not want to have that stereotype with me. I didn't want someone to tell me that I couldn't do something just because of the high school I went to or the people I associated myself with. So I think the #1 thing that I can tell you is push yourself and like prove people wrong, because I want like as much, I love OTN, I love everything about it, and that class in itself had just taught me like I can do whatever I want. Like it wasn't like just because like I didn't do something like I can't, like telling myself I can't, like you're not going to do it. And I think I found something that I'm like super passionate about because of OTN. So I think even if it's like kind of annoying to like work on these edits for like hours and like something doesn't work right, you're missing something, the share doesn't connect, like all that stuff, it's just kind of like push yourself and realize that like it's worth it in the end, and just to prove people wrong.
Awesome. Thank you.